This is a reading from Paul Lowe's book, In Each Moment. When I meet someone, it is as though I am meeting my brother or my sister. We meet with an intimacy that is not usually experienced on this planet. It is so intimate that there is really no separation between us. Of course, there is no way of explaining this because we are separate. We are in separate bodies, but to me, we are the same source. I do not mean that we come from the same source. We are the same source. We have all been crippled in some way at birth. It is as if we had a stroke or a type of aberration as we entered this dimension. I have spent my whole life correcting this kind of crippling, and now it has been corrected. Most people are still living inside that impairment. When we meet as brother and sister, but we do not recognize each other that way because most of us still exist behind the injury that has created the illusion of separateness. As you read this, consider this possibility. Your body is damaged. Your brain is damaged. Your emotions are damaged. But you are perfect. Nothing has happened to you. But you do not recognize this because you do not know how to access yourself directly. You do not know how to be with your source. You access yourself through your damaged body, your damaged mind, and through your damaged emotions. You see yourself that way, and you think that is who you are, but that is not who you are. I have gotten where I am through, the words that come to me are blessing, luck, coincidence, hard work. I do not know exactly how I got here. I do not actually know how this waking up has happened, but as a result, I see you as you really are. You do not see yourself as you are. You see yourself through your damaged faculties, and consequently, you experience yourself through your behavior, not directly. For most of you, what I am saying is beyond the framework of your experience. You might think you understand it, but you can only put what you hear in a context you already know. You have not truly realized that you are pure spirit. If you were to realize that you are pure spirit, not as an idea, nor as a belief, but as a direct knowing, you would feel no discomfort, no disturbance. You would have no fear, ever, at any time. If you believe me about this, it will not make any difference to you. In fact, belief gets in the way. Rather, listen to what I'm offering and see if you can open to it as a hypothesis. You are spirit, and you are out of touch with this because you have been damaged. A man I know has hurt his feet badly, but inside he is not damaged. He cannot get around the way he used to. In fact, for a while he could not get around at all and had to be in a wheelchair. But that had nothing to do with him. That was about his feet. He could not do the things that he had done in the past, running or playing or doing sports, because of the injury to his feet. But that had nothing to do with him. You have a body that is out of balance, a mind that is in distress, emotions that are in turmoil. But all that has nothing to do with you. If you identify with them, you feel crippled and less than whole. But that is not you. It helps to become more aware of how the mind functions, because the body and emotions follow the mind. When you become aware of this process, you are less likely to become involved in it. Do not take it seriously. Rather, allow the observer in you to notice, oh, a negative thought just happened. The mind thought negatively. You are not negative. Your system went into a pattern. Allow yourself to see more clearly and to keep disconnecting from the function of the mind. You become angry. The mind has gone into malfunction. You are capable of seeing that you do not have to be angry. You can let the mind be angry, and the body changes temperature and its vibration, but you do not have to go there. It is the same with any emotion. You do not need to identify with your emotions and your behavior. You may say, I'm depressed. Yet, you are not depressed. You cannot be depressed. What you are saying is, there is an imbalance in your mind that affects your body and your emotions, but that is not you. When you identify with feelings or behaviors, you believe that they are you, and you tend to become either lost in them or to work on changing them. In both cases, you are avoiding simply experiencing them. You cannot change them. In fact, it is inappropriate to change any of it. All you need do is become more aware of the part of you, the watcher, who is aware that you feel depressed, or whatever you are feeling. Then you can start to identify with the watcher and not the watched. I'm beginning to experience myself as less personal with people, but it is actually with their behavior, not who they really are. To me, it is as if most people are very beautiful beings who are dressing themselves as horribly as possible, on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I am interested in people's beauty, not the rags, the dirt, the problems they wear. Everyone is a beautiful, shining being. That is who I am interested in. When you talk about your troubles, your pain and distress have nothing to do with who you are. That is what you are wearing. It is your outer form, and you are trying to deal with your outer form instead of dropping back to the purity of who you are inside. Do not bother focusing attention on your behavior, because it has nothing to do with you. When you make yourself available to the possibility of your purity, of your essential being, all other things drop away. In the meantime, you need to function through your behavior, through your body, through your mind and your emotions. It is important to be present and disconnect with all of that, even as you are functioning. Be there. Do not do anything to change. Simply be there without judgment. Everything on the outside will then begin to find its balance. My experience is that many people are, in fact, beginning to disconnect from their behavior. As you do, you realize that in one way nothing has changed. You are still doing many of the old patterns. Yet in another way, you now have some distance from your behavior. You have let go of something that you felt was valuable at one time, but has not really supported you. With the letting go, you are healing, while at the same time part of you is not really healing because it has never been sick. As this happens, your behavior begins to line up with your essential self, and your judgments, both bad and good, will gradually dissolve. With that comes an empty space, a not knowing space. All your life you have been trained to evaluate good and bad, right and wrong, and to believe you then know where you are, because you have a reference point. If you let this go, the duality disappears, the point of reference disappears, and then you do not know. If you want to feel safe and have a sense of knowing again, you are back in duality, right, wrong, good, bad. If you let it all go, and you let your ideas of the source go as well, then you really do not know. But something replaces it that is indescribable. It is replaced by the peace that passeth all understanding. Take a moment now to see if you can identify your most prominent behavior. What is the primary thought, feeling, or action you go to automatically? If you distilled everything down, what would be the main theme in your life? Here are some suggestions to stimulate you. You may be predominantly angry, sorry for yourself, blaming, judging, or feeling helpless, insecure, afraid, superior, or inferior. Not only is pessimism on that list, optimism is also there. This is the pattern you drop into when you do not know what is going on, or when you feel disturbed or upset. You drop into this one place because you know it well. While it may not feel good, it offers the security of familiarity. Keep looking, but not with your mind or your old eyes. Imagine looking at yourself through me, even though you do not know who I am. I have no judgment. Whether you are a negative person or a positive person makes no difference to me. However, you judge all that. I see your value as being, because thou art that. To me, you are the kingdom of God. You have put this behavior on top of your essence, and it is not you. See if you can just consider your unconscious behavior as a fact. Of course, you would have preference for it not to be there, but it is not wrong. It is not bad. It is simply a fact. This is what your life experience has brought you to. This is your cave, where you take yourself when it all feels too much, when you get angry or feel sorry for yourself. You go there simply because you know it. It is not comfortable, but you know it. It is the place you created for yourself as a child, when it was almost impossible to live. Life was so painful, so disturbing, so bewildering, that you created this behavior to help yourself survive. Imagine for a moment that you are an angry person, or someone who tries to please others all the time. The anger, or those attempts at approval, that is your cave. You are being invited to come out of your cave, and as you do so, you are going to feel naked. You are going to feel vulnerable. You are being invited to come out of that place and start to experience yourself without that protection. Some of you are sharing your source, and some of you are sharing your behavior. Let us take a look at this distinction. When you go to your cave, you are feeling something. You may be feeling insecure, frightened, upset, or unworthy. The question to consider is, how do you compensate for that? What is the behavior you revert to in order to cover up what is really going on? Let us say you feel unworthy deep inside, and you have a behavior on the outside that might be acting superior. You might have fear on the inside, and on the outside you behave aggressively. These two things are always occurring simultaneously. What you are really feeling inside, and the behavior you present to other people. I have heard people say they are feeling insecure, but their behavior is to look together and rather cool. You do something like that, too. You have the essence of your inner experience, and then you have what you put over that. Take a look at these two parts of yourself now. What is really going on inside, and what do you show on the outside? Perhaps you show what you are. If you are afraid, you show fear. If you're angry, you show anger. Take a look. Is there a dichotomy? Do you pretend to be the opposite of what you feel? On one level, you might know yourself fairly well. You know what you are doing, and you are covering up. Now check inside again. You have your cave, and you have your behavior. On a scale of 1 to 10, how effective is your behavior? If you have given yourself a low number, consider why you keep doing this behavior. You probably continue it because that is what you know. You would rather do something you recognize than be there, not knowing and feeling all that is inside when you have no reference point. Yet this is the invitation now. Be with the not knowing and make yourself available to another level of possibility. When you stop covering up what you are really feeling, you allow yourself to drop back to the roots of your disturbance. You will find that, just as there is a distance between the covering behavior and the disturbance, there is equally a distance between the roots of the disturbance and your essential self, your source. As you become aware of each level, you drop closer to the direct experience of your source. First, you see the behavior. Then you decide to stop the behavior and drop into the origin of the disturbance. There you feel a part of you that is insecure. As you allow yourself to be there, present, experiencing the feelings you have been avoiding, you suddenly come back to the source. You may experience the separation between the source and what you call yourself. At the moment, many of you recognize that you do have a choice about whether you cover up your vulnerability or not. You get angry, you cover that up, and you can see that you are creating this. As you stop creating it, suddenly you can let go and drop to the source. When you drop into the source, the you, as you have known yourself to be, is gone. You have no separate identification. Do not try to understand that. The mind thinks it knows, but it does not. It can feel like death. Yet, as the Bible says, unless you die and be reborn, until you're willing to let go of who you think you are separate from Source. There are these 3 levels to drop into: the behavioral cover-up, the root of the disturbance, and then the source. As you disconnect from one, you keep dropping back. Disconnect, drop down, and then you are dancing naked in the moonlight, realizing you are the grass, you are the moon, you are the fireflies. You are everything, and everything is part of you. You have no more choices because choice has to do with separation, and you are not separate. You are the universe. In this state, everything is appropriate, and you are the peace that passeth all understanding. You begin by first being aware of the addiction you have to your behaviors that conceal your disturbance. Then do not reinforce your behavior. Do not reinforce your anger, your superiority, your inferiority. Do not give them any energy. It will all die away, and you will come back to the root of your disturbance. Be with your disturbance. Allow it to be there. Give it permission, and suddenly you will see it all. You will see your disturbance, and then you will realize there is a seer. You will realize this level, and all levels become separate from you. This is your possibility of gaining freedom. Freedom comes with disconnecting from your cover-up behavior. It comes with disconnecting from the root of your disturbance and realizing your essential self. This does not mean your behaviors will disappear completely, but as you create distance between your behavior and your essential self, everything else begins to fade away without effort. And as each behavior falls away, you are allowing your freedom. You are home at last.